Welcome to another episode of Content Creators Unite, the show where we discuss all things content creation. If you want to learn how to grow your business using your blog, newsletters, maybe writing a book, and more, you're in the right place. I'm your host, John Clements. Our guest for today's episode is Aaron Ryan. Aaron is a best-selling and award-winning novelist and voiceover artist. He's written the best-selling Dissonance, six-book alien invasion saga, the post-apocalyptic Christian fiction saga, The End, the sci-fi thrillers Forecast and The Slide, the nonfiction book How to Successfully Self-Publish and Promote Your Independent Book, and many, many others. As you can guess, he has a passion for storytelling and writing, and we're excited to have him today. So Aaron, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's good to be here.
I'm excited to talk with you. Just even in the green room before, I think you've got a great energy about you. So yeah, thanks for showing up. And just to get right into it, like, how did you become an author? What did that journey look like for you?
Oh, I think the best stories are the ones where you get into something by like sheer accident, or the stories where you get into something by via an assignment from your second grade teacher. So I'm kind of both of those, really. I got into voiceovers by accident. No complaints there because it's paid for everything you see. But authoring, man, I started that in 1981 because of an assignment from Mrs. Walker in second grade. So we all had to write something, and I wrote a little story that was, a three-hole punch college rule paper, crude stick figure drawings, construction paper cover wraparound, as ghetto as you can imagine. And I called it The Electric Boy. And the weirdest thing is that the most depressing thing about it is that my mom kept that and she gave it to me a few years ago, and I cannot find it for the life of me. Oh, it's lost somewhere in our move, I think. But when I wrote Forecast, which is a 9/11 historical fiction novel, I penned it in 24. That novel is literally The Electric Boy reborn. Like 45 years later, I was writing the same novel. I didn't even had an epiphany while I was writing it. It was crazy.
Wow. First of all, I love the title, The Electric Boy. That is such a great. That sounds like an Isaac Asimov book. This is such a. Did you come up with that as a second grader?
I did, but I think it was I was really on the coattails of E.T., watching
Mm,
E.T. back
yeah.
then. And so, a young juvenile protagonist, Elliot, that was fresh in my mind. And I think there was a show called The Phoenix or something like that, where, somebody gets, electrocuted and imbued with power. So it wasn't a terribly creative novel idea for this second grader back then. But yeah, I was influenced by that stuff for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm just impressed that even as a second grader, you kind of tapped into that gift. And so you've been writing, I assume, just ever since.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
nonstop. I although I've pursued a lot of different creative bents over the years, voiceovers is one, but singing, music production, poetry, dancing, just kidding. I don't have the body for that. But lots of different creative outlets because I have to create. I'll go crazy if I don't. And I returned to writing um formally, like, as a career pursuit,
Mhm.
really only in 23, because the voiceover career is eroding because of AI, which I'm sure we're going to talk about. um but yeah, I love writing, and I love telling stories. I'm a storyteller at heart.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so I have to go back to the dancing joke because I am the world's worst dancer. I told my friend this, and she said, I say, look, I'm terrible," and she's like, "You're not that bad. Come on, like everyone can dance." Okay, so I was helping out with our local vacation Bible school at my church one year, and part of it is the kids go to the music section and they dance to all the songs, and as a leader, you're supposed to dance along, and so my friend was there and I'm dancing along to these movements, which are very loosely danced anyway. And after we got done, she goes, "You know what? You were right. You really are terrible."
Yeah, really. You gotta love honesty. Thank you.
I told you. I told you I was terrible. Anyway, I love that you've been writing ever since you've been, 7 or 8 years old, and eventually that morphed into, a career. So, from your perspective, if you're talking with someone and they want to start writing or they want to be an author, it's like my daughter, she's 13, she's writing all the time, would love to be an author. Uh, but I don't know what to tell her to do. Like, how do you get started being like a published author? What does that even look like?
Yeah. I don't know. No, I'm kidding. um it really, I mean, I'm 52. I'll be 52 next week, and I still don't know. I think it's really kind of a Nike just do it attitude that you have to have. So yeah, writer's block is real. A lot of people poo-poo it. A lot of people. I'm kind of stuck right now working on this novel called The Slide, although it's coalescing into some great ideas that have given me a little bit more momentum now. But I was stuck on it for a while, just like I was on Forecast writing in 24. I kept trying to go back to it and getting pulled away on something else and another idea. But what I finally had to do with Forecast and with The Slide is just really start writing and seeing what happens, seeing what thoughts can germinate. Because once you prime that pump, it's like a well, and you have to prime it first in order to get the initial water flowing. In order to draw water, it seems backward, but that's just the way it works. Um, the people who are stuck in analysis paralysis and imposter syndrome, and they're just they're spinning their wheels on, I don't know if this is going to work, and I don't know where to go, and I have no idea how to start. Really, the best advice I could give is actually just start and see what happens. You'll find that when you do that, you'll discover whether you're a pantser writer, which is an organic style of writer, fly by the seat of your pants, or a planner. If you're trying to write organically, and you go, I don't know where to go, I need structure, bullet points. Then you'll discover, well, you're a planner or a plotter type of writer. But if you can just type and let your fingers do the magic and keep going and going and going, you discover that you're a much more organic writer. I just think people get stuck at that starting line, and they have to just go and see what happens.
Yeah, I think so too, and I appreciate you pointing out there's multiple types of writing because I've noticed that as well. And for me, sometimes it even depends on the day or what I'm writing as to whether it's going to be organic or planned. But I wanted to ask you with the analysis paralysis. So I'm a writer in my day job. Not I don't write novels, but I write for businesses, and I'm working on a course to teach people how to write like a blog or and get started in that area. And one thing I'm going to tell them is just write. Like, I think one area I see people get stuck is they want to write and edit at the same time. And so my advice is write because editing it comes later. Is that how
Yeah.
you think about that?
Oh, absolutely. I forget who said it, but it was somebody along the lines of the producer of Hamilton, Lin-Manuel Miranda, said
Yeah.
something to the effect of, and it wasn't him, it was somebody like that, but they said, writing is like, first I'm just shoveling sand in the sandbox. I'll build the castles later. Just first of all, get all that sand in the sandbox and see where you go, and then you can figure out structure later. I do find, and I found this is true on virtually every novel that I've created, and I've written several nonfiction books, and I've written tons of satire over the years, which is creative writing. You write, you see where it goes, and then if something doesn't work down the line, you go back to the earlier point in the novel and you adapt it. You change it so that that will work. If that's that critical down the line, you can always come back to the starting point or wherever that initial stream of thought originated or germinated, and then tweak that slightly so that that later on works. uh, that's the editing that you can do down the line. I'm still doing editing on books that I've published already. They've been out in the market for, over years now. You'll never stop editing, but the writing part, man, just go with the flow and see what you come up with first.
Yeah, absolutely. And just so our listeners are aware of this, that applies to writing a novel or a Facebook post or a newsletter. Like, just get something on the page first, get your thoughts out, and then you can work on it. It doesn't have to be all at once. It doesn't have to be
Yeah,
perfect right out of the gun.
I totally agree. My wife is my editor, and she's a darn beautiful, sexy one. But she will write an email to someone, and she won't hit send for a week,
Oh yeah.
because she pores over that, and words are very precious to her. Once she sends those out into the ether, you can't get those back. Words are unretractable once delivered, and I love that about her because she's very careful with people's hearts and with her words. So she will edit to ad nauseum. But the problem is, and she knows she struggles with this, is she will then go back and rehearse what she sent, even though she spent all this time ruminating on, was this the right thing to say and the right way to say it. She'll still kind of almost punish herself for a week after that and go, did I say this right? And she'll reread it and pour back over it. At some point, you have to just trust that you said what needed to be said and didn't what didn't need to be said. and let it go, release it.
Yeah.
So there is that analysis process.
There absolutely is. Yeah. That's something we've encountered in our household a time or two as well. So
It's pretty common.
it is common. You wrote a book about self-publishing, and I wanted just to ask you, is that a legit way to publish your books, or are you better off going the traditional publishing route? Like what? Tell me about that.
Well, there's pros and cons to both. If you go the traditional publishing route, you're going to have more money and marketing behind you, which is nice, but you're also hamstrung by several factors that are completely outside of your control. I have self-published every single book I've put out there by choice. Self-publishing, you can command higher royalties. You have a much quicker time to market. You can choose your editing team. I chose mine, you can creatively design your own materials if you've got those skills. You can choose your ARC team, your beta reading teams. All of those are within your control. You retain all creative control, which is the biggest thing for me. Surprised I listed that last. But um, and that works for a lot of people, but here's where a lot of people get hung up on that. Oh, I'm going to have to do my own marketing too. Well, yeah, but if you were traditionally published by someone else, they largely don't do all your marketing for you either. And if you're excited about something, you would go, whether this is self-published or traditionally published, you would go, look, and you would tell people about this and share it everywhere you could, regardless of which method you went. So there's toss-ups either way. I think the self-starters really prefer self-publishing though.
Self-starters prefer self-publishing. That's handy. That's a good little tip to remember.
Bumper
How
sticker.
about Yeah, bumper sticker, right? Get it on a t-shirt. How about there? I happen to know, or at least I've been told, there are definitely people in the self-publishing space are more than happy to take your money and not give you anything in return. So you have to like watch out for those kind of shady characters.
There are so many for self-publishers. Yeah, almost exclusively you're going to run afoul of all of these. That's the wrong expression. You're going to run into all of these predators out there in the marketplace. The publishing industry is rife with scammers, and the self-publishing industry is as well. So I think what you might be referencing is hybrid or vanity publishers. And those are publishing companies that will basically charge you up front to publish your novel. And the dividends and the ROI that you'll experience on that are never what you'll expect. They are more than happy to take your money and make you all kinds of promises of bestseller status and award-winning blah blah blah. It's never the case. A legitimate, bona fide publisher will never charge you a single dime to publish your book. They won't charge you a red cent to publish your book. So anybody else who wants to charge you is a capitalist and likely a scammer, most likely a hybrid or vanity publishing press. Run.
Yeah.
Make like Forrest Gump and run.
Excuse me. And and do your research, right? I think that's the ultimate thing is make sure you know what you're getting into before you get into it. Reach out to people, get a second opinion. If it doesn't feel right, it's probably not right. Like, there's all the things just involved with critical thinking you should definitely do.
Yeah. The checks in your
Um,
spirit, listen to those.
yeah, absolutely. So one other thing I wanted to ask you about, since you do all your self-publishing, and you're correct, even if you go the traditional publisher, you're going to have to put in the brunt of the marketing yourself because again, it's your book, it's your baby, and for better or worse, like you're expected to market it. And so you actually have best-selling books, and I happen to know that the hardest part of a best-selling book is the marketing aspect. So how do you approach marketing, or how have you approached it in a way to see that much success, to grow your audience, to sell your books? What does it look like for you?
Well, I'm really happy to say that virtually every installment, and there are six in my Dissonance saga, it's a hexalogy, they've all reached bestseller status. The first one in the End series, this one that I just held up, achieved bestseller, and the sequel just dropped yesterday, and that's already in top new release status on Amazon. That'll, I'm sure, reach bestseller at some point. It really does take a good, successful launch strategy. But one thing to really keep in mind, bestseller status is really just ultimately about bragging rights. It's nice to say that, and if you can catch the screenshot and grab that screenshot, the moment it reaches it, or however long it stays there, you're going to have these peaks, and you're going to have these valleys of, no sales or few sales and whatnot. But this is a slog. This is a marathon, not a sprint, is probably a better way to say it.
Yeah.
So being creative, thinking outside the box, for example, I wear shirts like these all the time because I want people to ask me, oh, are you an author? Are you a writer? I have vinyl lettering on the back window of my van that says support a local best-selling author, and here's my website, blah, blah, blah. I've got pictures, color stickers on the sides of my van and my wife's because she's married to me, so she has to. Um, and that, attracts people to our website as well. I do vendor markets and craft fairs all the time. I won't do book fairs because I don't stand out, but vendor markets and craft fairs, I'm totally unique, and I sell out, and I
Yeah.
sell a lot of books at those. Be creative. Think of different ways that you can get yourself out there. And if it's your passion and you truly care about it, nothing can suppress you from talking about it. The hardest thing I think for a lot of people is go, oh, I want to brag or boast or toot my own horn. No, toot your own horn. It's totally okay. You love your book. You want other people
Yeah.
to love it too.
Yeah. I think people get, especially Christians, you and I are Christians. I think a lot of us in our faith get this idea that I have to be humbled by everything, which means I can never talk about myself or never promote something. No, that's not true. In fact, I
No.
help people sometimes with their resumes and like job searches, and I tell them, look, being humble is a wonderful trait. Be humble. Except when you're submitting for a job application, then
Exactly.
promote yourself or
Yeah.
you're promoting your book, right? Like, because this is bigger than you. This is about providing for your family, contributing to the community, right? This is bigger than just me and what might people think of me. So I love that, the mindset. I also like the fact that what you said was, I don't go to book fairs because I don't stand out, and I'm looking for the areas where I can stand out. What a great tip
Yeah.
that is.
Yeah. They say Oscar Wilde says, be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. I love going out and, at a vendor market. And we've had a tumultuous week with a lot of things going on. I was supposed to be at one tomorrow and Sunday, but the weather's going to be miserable. Our family needs to press into each other and just get away. And so we're doing that. And so I'm losing out on my investment for that craft fair. But I love doing them because over here you've got a blown glass artisan. On this side of me, you've got somebody who does bead work. There's a portrait guy. There's, leather works, author, you know, and they come and they see all these books. Oh, did you write these? Are you an author? It's just, we're so unique in such a lineup that way. And I love, love, love getting out there at a table and telling people about the stories that God's given me.
Yeah, I just think that's just such a unique marketing strategy. And so I hope that people listening will steal that idea. Maybe not that exact idea, but steal the idea behind it, right? Of going out and finding something that's unique that'll catch people's attention. That's
Yeah.
just, yeah, that's great. So I want to dive into the topic of the day, which, as everyone knows, is AI. That's what we're all talking about. You're a creative person. I work in with words as well as an editor and a writer. You work with them as a voiceover and an author. And so the viewpoints of AI are, of course, all over the spectrum, but I am curious from your vantage point with what you do, how has AI affected you in your lines of work?
Yeah. I mean, we could have a whole podcast exclusively on this subject. Um, I have no love for AI. It is artificial in every way. It is absolutely corrosive and destructive, and has been to my voiceover career. We were making this much, and now we're making this much.
Mm.
And back there, as a voiceover artist, that's my studio. There's our studio mascot sitting right there on the chair. That would be Macy Girl. She's 12, 13 rather. Um, Voiceovers have stolen long-term clients from me. They've stolen long-term jobs. They have purged good relationships that I've had because people are now turning to solutions like Respeecher and Speechalo and Speech Ocean and all these things that they will consider as sufficient. Um, these voices aren't human. They're not nearly as connective in terms of nuance and idiosyncrasies that humans possess, and yet people are going, "Hey, it's cheaper, so let's just do that." So it's really diminished our income. It's really purged some great relationships from my life, which I find really sad. It's also affecting the literary industry because it does water down the offerings on Amazon. My books, not Dissonance, I don't think yet, but I've had books that have been plagiarized. Simply boil it down to this: someone can go on to Grok or Chat GPT or OpenAI or whatever they want to use, throw in a few prompts, get a whole book practically spit out to them, copy paste into a Word template, and then use something like Midjourney and create their graphic design, slap it all together, you throw it up on KDP or Ingram Spark or Draft 2 Digital, and boom, you're a capitalist. You're not a creator. You didn't create that, but you're going to put your name on it. I think that's really despicable. And I think it's really sad because I have a disclaimer in every one of my books at the beginning, says note on AI. And I want my readers to know that at no time and no time will I ever employ the use of AI in the creation of anything that I write. So there's my note on AI.
Yeah.
I'm very proud to use this creative God-given gift that the creator gave me, which is creation. Why would I trade that? It's just sad.
Yeah. I feel, in fact, it's kind of funny you mentioned that note. I have a note on my website, on my editing and writing website. I have the same note that says, I will not use AI to write your work. I may use it. I do use it for some organizational note taking stuff on the back end that does help me like sift through my massive amounts of notes a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. Like I don't like, I like to write. That's why I do it. I tell people I don't want to automate something out of my life that I enjoy. Why would I do that? So,
I, I think there's something to be said for people using it for something as simple as idea generation. I don't see any harm in that
yeah.
because then you have to take that seed and water it and expound upon it and grow it in your own cranium. And I think, that is fine. But when you're talking about generative AI and the destructive effects on the environment,
Yeah.
and the sheer amount of energy it takes to run these things, and they're yes, in some ways they're impressive, but it's a facsimile of this. That's why they call it artificial. I don't feel strongly about this at all.
No, not at all. Well, I
Yeah.
think it's important to have the discussion because I meet all kinds of people as a podcast host. Some of them are in love with AI and think it's the best thing ever, and they have some valid points. And others, like you, think, well, no, I don't want to use it at all, and you have valid points. So rather than just like uh, believing the hype or completely dismissing it, like let's have the conversation and let's
Yeah.
see, over time what happens. And so I do want to ask you, like, just obviously, I don't have a crystal ball. I'm pretty sure you don't either. But what do you think the future holds for creative people with AI? Is it going to replace us? Is there still hope? Is it going to fade away? Like, what do you think is going to happen?
I think Skynet is on the horizon. I Yeah, I mean, there's a funny meme out there where a woman has her hair tangled up in a Eufy or a Robo Rock or whatever it is, and she's on the floor and she's got her hair tangled in a robot vacuum, and that's the top half of the meme, and then the bottom half of the meme is a Terminator holding up its weapon and saying, "So it begins," you know. And I love that meme because it just speaks to this hysteria that is prevalent about AI. But a lot of that hysteria is grounded in reality, a realistic fear. Automation replaces humans. There's no way around that. And I can speak from experience personally as a person who has loved his career as a voiceover artist and is seeing it diminish day by day. Um, I think that's going to continue. I think there are some careers and some lines of work that are immune from it for sure. But I think the more we embrace this technology that's so destructive, and the more we're willing to to conduct that trade-off without a conscious rejection, conscientious
Mhm.
objection, then the closer we get to just losing so much more of our humanity. And I think that's really sad, and it's a poor trade-off.
Yeah, I tend to agree. And again, there are positives, there are negatives, and I think as a society we just need to be open and honest about all of them. And I don't know that we're quite there in the discussion yet. So again, this is like hopefully a great voice to add to the discussion of, hey, don't forget, yes, it can do a lot of amazing things, but here's the cost. Are we willing to make
Yeah.
that trade off?
At what cost is the question we
Yeah.
have to ask.
Absolutely. And I don't think we're doing a good job with that yet. So again, hopefully this will be a voice to help us steer as a society in that direction.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is kind of depressing, but it was important to talk about. As we begin to wrap up, I do want to know, I'm going to assume that you have good boundaries in place with your life, that you don't work, 24/7. You do take time off from your responsibilities. So when you're hanging out with your wife and kids, or maybe just by yourself, what do you like to do?
No, I do work 24/7. I mean, absolutely. If you're, I mean, let's be realistic. If you're an entrepreneur or a self-made person, yeah, you're focused on your dream and your passion 24/7. There's no real off switch.
That's
Um,
true.
yeah, my kids are so creative. I don't know where they get it. Um, I love how creative they are and just seeing the creations that they bring to life. I love going out, like we do Taekwondo on Thursdays, and I'm like just beaming, watching them because they're adorable in their little white dough box. And they're just, spending time with them and playing, story time. Oh, we're gonna go to Seaside this weekend, and looking forward to that. Just unplugging. There is something to be said about unplugging, untethering from your life and just going to press in with your own family. But I'm an entertainer and a storyteller. I always have been. I've been in music, a performer, blah blah blah. We like movies. We like music. We like entertainment. So sitting and watching something exciting and then hopefully talking about it afterwards. The kids we took them to Taekwondo yesterday, and I was like, these kids have never seen Karate Kid, and understanding the importance behind what Mr. Miyagi did and how he trained Daniel LaRusso. So we watched that last night, and they're 9 and 6. They're right here. They don't have the attention span to sit there and watch up, down, wax on, wax off for that long, but they did get it. They made the connection of, he's teaching him muscle memory and training him in a impromptu, unorthodox way, even better. Uh, I think they picked up on that. But I just, the simplest thing is just spending time with them and untethering. I love my family dearly.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Yeah, my kids are a little bit older, but I do, yeah, enjoy hanging out with them, seeing what they come up with, yeah, seeing what they create, what they're into. It's pretty cool. Yeah, and then occasionally they actually do something kind and respectful. I'm like, wow, they actually listened to me. At least no matter what.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I don't know.
So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, Aaron, it's been wonderful talking with you. I really appreciate your perspective and the advice that you've shared. Um, and also like your book sounds super interesting too. I'm gonna have to check those out. So where can people go to learn more about you, buy your books, get to know you more?
Yeah, my favorite question. Well, so I'm known mostly for my two works. So Dissonance, this is my all-in-one version I had produced. This is 829 pages. In the six novels, the individual six novels, it's 1800 pages, but this is my alien invasion saga. You can go to alienssaga.com for that. You can go to This Is Not the End for the Christian dystopian saga set in 2113. This is, what you won't find in my books is F bombs and GD and JC profanity. I'm not going to use that ever. Um, this is clean fiction though, and it's Christian in nature. So the scripture is flowing in here, and I love that. So you can go to This Is Not the End for the End saga, or just for the overarching site of all of my works, you can go to authoraaronryan.com, and that has all the social media links and all that stuff too.
Sweet. And we'll make sure to have those in the show notes. So you just go click on them right now and go check them out. So again, Aaron, thanks so much for being on the show today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. God bless you.
Absolutely. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed our discussion today, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. I bring on the best experts in the content creation space, just like Aaron. I get them to share their secrets with you so you can grow your business. And with that, have a great day, and we'll see you next time on the Content Creators Unite podcast.